Airman Basic. Airman Basic are the lowest enlisted rank in the U.S. Air Force, with no rank insignia and serving as the entry-level position for new enlistees. Airman Basic responsibilities include completing basic training, adapting to military customs and courtesies, maintaining professional and physical standards, and acquiring technical skills. Airman Basics spend significant time in training and shadowing experienced personnel. Basic pay is not available after 2 years, as basic combat training does not extend beyond this period. When the Air Force separated from the Army in 1947, its lowest rank was Private. In 1952, it was renamed Basic Airman, and in 1959, it became Airman Basic. An Airman Basic is typically promoted to Airman after 6 months of active duty if they have enlisted for at least 4 years. However, some enlistees can be promoted immediately upon completing basic training if they meet certain qualifications, such as completing at least 2 years of junior ROTC in high school, earning the Eagle Scout rank from the Boy Scouts, or the Gold Award from the Girl Scouts, or obtaining 20 college semester credit hours. Those eligible for early promotion wear their single Airman insignia stripe during the basic training graduation ceremony at Lackland Air Force Base and receive retroactive pay for the Airman rank upon completion of training. If they fail to complete basic training and are discharged, they do not receive the additional pay. Airman. The rank of Airman is the second lowest enlisted rank, positioned above Airman Basic and below Airman First Class. Historically, the Air Force used ranks such as Airman Second Class and Airman Third Class, with the current E2 rank of Airman being called Airman Third Class from 1952 to 1967. Airmen are responsible for adjusting to military life, mastering Air Force customs and courtesies, and developing proficiency in their designated specialties. Upon leaving basic training, all airmen enter training at Air Force schools in their specialties, depending on their aptitudes and interests and the needs of the Air Force. The length of training varies, with some programs lasting a year or more. Due to the small stripe in their insignia, airmen are often nicknamed Mosquito Wings. Airman First Class, the third enlisted rank in the U.S. Air Force. Historically used by the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard, the rank is now exclusive to the Air Force. Established on April 24, 1952, as an E4 rank, it was reclassified to E3 on June 3, 1967, as part of an enlisted rank revision. Before this, the E3 rank was called Air Force Corporal, renamed Airman Second Class, and finally called Airman First Class in 1967. Promotion typically occurs after 10 months as an airman, but early advancement is possible for those who have completed junior ROTC, college ROTC, earned the Billy Mitchell Award, obtained at least 45 college credits, or committed to a 6-year enlistment. Those promoted upon completing basic training receive retroactive E3 pay, while 6-year enlistees get promoted after 20 weeks or upon finishing technical training. Many 6-year enlistees qualify for highly technical specialties such as electronics, weapons systems, or medical roles, spending up to 2 years in training before serving an additional 4 years. Senior Airman, the fourth enlisted rank in the U.S. Air Force, above Airman First Class and below Staff Sergeant, with a pay grade of E4. Established on December 30, 1975, and implemented on June 1, 1976, it initially coexisted with Sergeant until the rank was eliminated on April 1, 1991. The last Sergeant left the Air Force on March 23, 1998, making the Air Force and Space Force the only U.S. military branches without an E4 NCO rank. Promotion to Senior Airman requires 36 months' time in service and 20 months' time in grade, or 28 months' time in grade, whichever comes first. Up to 15% of top airmen first class may be promoted 6 months early through Below the Zone, a competitive program that allows exceptional airmen and officers to be promoted early to the next rank. Senior airmen develop leadership skills and may supervise lower-ranking airmen, but are not considered NCOs. Before promotion to Staff Sergeant, they must complete the 6-week Airman Leadership School. Those with 3 to 6 years of service may attend ALS for leadership training. Staff Sergeant. Staff Sergeant is the first non-commissioned officer rank in the U.S. Air Force, positioned above Senior Airman. Staff Sergeants are considered craftsmen, responsible for both technical expertise and supervisory duties. They may hold either a 5-level journeyman or 7-level craftsman skill designation and must continuously develop as technicians and leaders. Promotion to Staff Sergeant requires 3 years of time in service and 6 months of time in grade. Candidates must also achieve a 5-skill level, compete in the weighted airman promotion system, and complete Airman Leadership School before assuming the rank. On average, active duty airmen take over 4 years to reach Staff Sergeant. Technical Sergeant. The second non-commissioned officer rank in the U.S. Air Force, above Staff Sergeant and below Master Sergeant. Technical sergeants perform highly complex technical duties while also supervising and ensuring the career development of subordinates. They are responsible for providing the tools, training, and support needed to maximize performance and mission effectiveness. Promotion to Technical Sergeant requires 5 years of time in service and 23 months of time in grade. Candidates must also achieve a 7-skill level and compete in the weighted airman promotion system. The average active duty time to promotion is 12 years. Master Sergeant. The 7th enlisted grade in the United States Air Force, ranking above Technical Sergeant and below Senior Master Sergeant. This promotion is a significant milestone, marking an airman's transition from technical and supervisory roles to operational leadership within the senior non-commissioned officer tier. At this rank, airmen develop broad leadership, supervisory, and managerial skills, shifting their focus from technical performance to organizational leadership. According to Air Force Instruction 362618, Master Sergeants serve in key leadership roles such as squadron superintendents, flight chiefs, section chiefs, and non-commissioned officers in charge. First Sergeant. In the United States Air Force, the First Sergeant is a special duty temporary rank and a positional billet rather than a permanent promotion. Often called the First Shirt or simply Shirt, the First Sergeant is responsible for the morale, welfare, and conduct of all enlisted members in a squadron and serves as the chief advisor to the squadron commander on enlisted force matters. This role is held by senior enlisted personnel in the ranks of Master Sergeant, Senior Master Sergeant, or Chief Master Sergeant, E7 through E9. First Sergeants are distinguished by a lozenge, a diamond, insignia on their rank chevrons. Most First Sergeants are Master Sergeants, while larger units may assign Senior Master Sergeants or Chief Master Sergeants to the role. Although First Sergeant is not a separate rank, those who serve in this position are considered senior to their non-diamond counterparts. Senior Master Sergeant. The second highest enlisted rank in the United States Air Force, with a pay grade of E8, ranking above Master Sergeant and below Chief Master Sergeant. Senior Master Sergeants serve as operational leaders, overseeing mission execution, personnel development, and unit effectiveness while mentoring junior enlisted and commissioned officers. Promotion is highly competitive, with fewer than 10% of eligible Master Sergeants selected each year through a central board evaluation. Candidates typically have broad leadership experience, a degree in their specialty, completion of the Senior Non-Commissioned Officer Correspondence course, and an endorsement from a senior rater. Under Public Law 107-107, only 2.5% of active duty enlisted personnel may hold this rank. Chief Master Sergeant. The 9th and highest enlisted rank in the United States Air Force, with a pay grade of E9. Attaining this rank is the pinnacle of an enlisted Air Force career. All Chief Master Sergeants are expected to serve as mentors for non-commissioned officers and junior enlisted members. Promotion to Chief Master Sergeant is highly selective, as federal law limits the rank to 1.25% of the total enlisted force. Chief Master Sergeants often take on specialized leadership roles. These roles include First Sergeant, Group Senior Enlisted Leader, Squadron Senior Enlisted Leader, Wing Weapons Manager, and Command Chief Master Sergeant. Command Chief Master Sergeant. The Command Chief Master Sergeant is both a rank and a leadership position. It was created in November 1998 to replace the previous senior enlisted advisor roles held by Chief Master Sergeants. These command chiefs serve as top enlisted advisors to commanders at important levels, such as wings, numbered air forces, field agencies, and major commands. In joint military commands, Air Force chiefs selected as senior enlisted advisors by the Department of Defense are also called command chiefs. Their main job is to advise commanders on enlisted personnel matters, including mission readiness, training, morale, career development, and overall quality of life for enlisted members. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force is a distinctive non-commissioned rank in the United States Air Force, held by the highest-ranking enlisted leader, unless an enlisted airman serves as the senior enlisted advisor to the chairman. Appointed by the Air Force Chief of Staff, they guide the enlisted corps and advocates for their interests to the American public and all levels of government when appropriate. The Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force holds a special pay grade above E9. The current 20th Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, David A. Flosey, assumed the role on March 8, 2024. Warrant Officer. Although Title 10 of the U.S. Code allowed the Secretary of the Air Force to appoint warrant officers, the Air Force has not used these ranks since 1959, when it began phasing them out. The last active duty warrant officer, Chief Warrant Officer 4 James H. Long, retired in 1980, and the last Air Force Reserve Warrant Officer, Chief Warrant Officer 4 Bob Barrow, retired in 1992. Upon his retirement, Barrow was honorarily promoted to Chief Warrant Officer 5, the only Air Force member to hold this rank. While warrant officer grades remained legally authorized, they were unused until 2024. On December 6, 2024, 30 airmen graduated as the first Air Force warrant officers since 1992, earning the ranks of Warrant Officer 1 or Chief Warrant Officer 2. Second Lieutenant. A second lieutenant is the lowest commissioned officer rank in the United States Air Force. Officers rarely stay at this rank long before promotion, and those commissioned from the enlisted ranks or college graduates may skip it entirely. Second lieutenants often serve as flight commanders or assistant flight commanders, overseeing units that vary in size. They may also hold administrative roles at the squadron, group, or occasionally wing level, particularly in personnel, maintenance, or security forces. Those selected for rated training, such as pilots, combat systems officers, remotely piloted aircraft officers, or air battle managers, spend much of their time in training, with no command responsibilities until they complete their programs. First Lieutenant. A First Lieutenant is the second lowest officer rank. Promotion to First Lieutenant in the Air Force follows Department of Defense policies, typically occurring after 24 months of service as a second lieutenant. First lieutenants often serve as flight commanders or officers in charge, overseeing up to 100 personnel, depending on their career field. In flying units, first lieutenants are typically rated officers focused on flight duties. Captain. A captain is typically promoted after 4 years of service. Captains are expected to be seasoned leaders capable of managing large flights and preparing for administrative or group-level responsibilities. In operations groups, senior captains usually serve as flight commanders, while junior captains often focus more on flying and hold minor leadership roles. In maintenance, logistics, and force support squadrons, captains almost always serve as flight commanders, directly overseeing enlisted personnel. Captains are expected to be senior leaders whom enlisted airmen can approach for guidance. Major. Majors serve as senior staff officers at the squadron and wing level, shifting from hands-on leadership to strategic and administrative roles. In flying squadrons, majors often serve as flight commanders or assistant directors of operations. In mission support and maintenance groups, they may occasionally take on squadron command roles. In the medical corps, a major might lead a clinic or flight. Majors are expected to be more involved in the administrative operations of their units. While flying unit majors may continue as flight commanders or move into director of operations roles, those in non-flying units, such as maintenance or logistics, may become squadron commanders. Lieutenant Colonel. A lieutenant colonel typically serves as a squadron commander in the operations, mission support, maintenance, or medical groups. In flying units, a lieutenant colonel may first serve as a director of operations before assuming squadron command. In maintenance, mission support, or medical groups, they often take on deputy commander roles before moving into command positions. Beyond squadron leadership, lieutenant colonels may serve on general staff or lead wing staff departments. Senior lieutenant colonels may also serve as group commanders, particularly in the Air Force Reserve Command and Air National Guard, where the role is more common. Colonel. A colonel typically commands a wing of 1,000 to 4,000 airmen, supported by a vice commander, 4 group commanders, each also a colonel, and a chief master sergeant serving as the command chief. Colonels also hold leadership roles at directorate and division levels within the Secretariat, Air Staff, Major Commands, and Numbered Air Forces. Approximately 50% of lieutenant colonels are promoted to colonel. By law, colonels must have at least 22 years of service and a minimum of 3 years as a lieutenant colonel. Brigadier General. A brigadier general is a senior officer and the first general officer rank, signified by a single silver star. This rank is awarded to career officers who have demonstrated exceptional leadership, strategic vision, and operational expertise. Brigadier generals typically command large wings, oversee major operational units, or serve in high-level staff positions at the Pentagon, joint bases, or organizations like the North American Aerospace Defense Command. Their responsibilities include managing large teams, overseeing strategic planning, directing tactical operations, and ensuring proper allocation of resources. Major General. A Major General is a 2-star general officer, ranking above Brigadier General and below Lieutenant General. During peacetime, it is the highest permanent rank. By law, no more than 25% of the Air Force's active duty general officers may hold a rank higher than 2 stars, and some of these positions are reserved by statute. Most major generals serve as deputies or senior staff members within major and joint commands. However, some may also command smaller numbered air forces. Lieutenant General. An Air Force Lieutenant General is a 3-star general officer who typically commands a large numbered air force composed of multiple wings or a smaller major command, such as the Air Force Special Operations Command or the Air Force Reserve Command. In addition to command roles, lieutenant generals from all military branches serve as high-level staff officers at major command headquarters and the Pentagon, often leading key departments. Lieutenant generals in the United States Air Force are appointed by the President from among brigadier generals or higher, with assistance from the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The nominee must also receive a majority vote from the Senate before being confirmed. General. A general in the United States Air Force is tied to specific positions, making the rank temporary. A general holds the active rank only for the duration of their assigned office, which is typically set by statute. However, upon retirement, if they have met satisfactory service requirements, they are usually allowed to retain the 4-star rank instead of reverting to a lower position. They typically lead major commands or unified commands and hold some of the highest positions in the Department of Defense. The Chief of Staff of the Air Force is a 4-star general, as are other top leaders in key operational and strategic roles. Generals are nominated by the President from eligible officers holding the rank of Brigadier General or higher, with input from the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Air Force, and, when applicable, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The General of the Air Force. The General of the Air Force is a 5-star general officer rank and the highest possible rank in the United States Air Force. This rank has only been held by General Henry H. Arnold, who led the United States Army Air Forces during World War II. At the time of his promotion on December 21, 1944, the Air Force was still part of the Army, and he was given the 5-star rank of General of the Army. When the U.S. Air Force became an independent branch on September 18, 1947, Arnold retained his 5-star status. On May 7, 1949, under Public Law 81-58, His title was officially changed to General of the Air Force, making him the only airman to hold a 5-star rank and the only officer in US military history to hold 2 different 5-star ranks. While no other officer has been promoted to General of the Air Force considers it an active rank.